Just ahead, the latest from Sun Prairie Police on the explosion and a closer look at how such things can even happen.
And why the governor is refuting any connection to a woman accused of being a covert agent working for the Russian government.
Plus, find out what happened after a bicyclist dangerously falls through the gap in a Wisconsin drawbridge.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight. It's been nearly a week now since the devastating explosion in Sun Prairie.
Tonight, crews are still on the scene and have the area fenced off, but tell us the investigation is expected to take days instead of weeks. Rebuilding the area can't start until the death investigation is finished. Sun Prairie Police Lieutenant Konopacki says within days, he should be able to turn over the area to the business owners, and he will provide an update on the investigation at that time. Police tell us there are no natural gas leaks. They say they have not ruled out the possibility of filing criminal charges, and the district attorney's office is being consulted.
Our investigative team is working very hard, all right, to figure out how this happened, why this happened, and a question we have to answer is, was there any criminal negligence? And that's what we're looking to determine. But we're not to that answer yet.
The explosion happened last Tuesday after a subcontractor was digging in the area for Kansas-based Bear Communications for a fiber project.
Experts say gas lines are hit often, but what happened last Tuesday night in Sun Prairie was not. Our Keely Arthur live now in Sun Prairie with a closer look at what led to the explosion. Keely?
If you're digging in the state of Wisconsin, you have to report it, so that way you're digging in a safe spot, not hitting any gas lines. Now, we called the diggers hotline today to see if the people digging here had reported it. We didn't get that answer, but we do know that a gas line was certainly hit. Investigators now trying to figure out if it was avoidable.
I need everybody back, please.
This was sort of the perfect storm that all of the pieces had to fall into place to get this disaster.
And nearly a week later, everyone is asking the same thing.
How did this happen?
Now it's up to authorities to figure that out. There are two distinct investigations happening here. One led by Sun Prairie Police, looking into if criminal negligence caused the explosion, and a second led by Occupational Safety and Health Administration that deals at looking into if workers digging near the site did anything improper while on the job.
Where did the system break down and who's culpable for that?
Randy Way, a firefighter and instructor at Madison College's Fire Protection Technician program, says digging into the ground, even hitting a gas line, is not out of the ordinary. But what happened Tuesday is.
There's underground construction going on every day, and it's not that often that you have a gas line severed, and it's extremely uncommon to have a gas line severed and then have an explosion of this type follow.
Police confirm a Bear Communications contractor who was working on a fiber project for Verizon hit the gas line, but more questions remain unanswered. Was the contractor digging in a spot they weren't supposed to, or was the spot approved by Diggers Hotline and the locations of the gas lines incorrect?
And that will be one of the pieces of that workplace safety investigation to figure out why the system broke down this time. Why didn't it prevent this?
Now, this situation obviously has a lot of people thinking, what would you do if you smelled natural gas? If you do, leave the area immediately. Do not.
Actually lost Keely's signal there. We thank Keely Arthur for that report tonight.
The community is trying to help the Sun Prairie victims any way they can. Tonight, they're raising money with pizza, beer, and disc golf. Ale Asylum, Glass Nickel Pizza, and Glide Disc Golf came together to help Glass Nickel in Sun Prairie, which was destroyed in the blast last week. Those attending enjoyed pizza and a beer. Donations go right back to the Sun Prairie Disaster Fund.
When something happens close to home, everyone usually joins together, and it's really cool when places can all donate and come together like this, and all the people can turn out, so that's awesome.
The event just wrapped up a few minutes ago at 10 o'clock. Once again, 100% of the proceeds go to the Bank of Sun Prairie's Disaster Relief Fund.
Tomorrow, Culver's in Sun Prairie will donate 50% of its sales to the families of Captain Corey Barr and the other injured firefighter Ryan Welch. The restaurant says it'll be hosting a Culver's Cares Share Day, 10 a.m. to midnight at its location on West Main Street. Kids who have gone without bed since Tuesday's explosion will soon be sleeping soundly again.
Amy Reed shows us how one organization is making it happen.
Not even 24 hours after their call for donations, the Bed Lady Project's storage units are filling up.
We have some princesses. I saw in here somewhere some Spider-Man. We have ballerinas back here.
Lisa Wilkins is elated.
The community has been extremely generous from the beginning, so I'm not totally surprised that they stepped up for this disaster, but actually, I'm thrilled to pieces that they came out so quickly.
Sunday night at 8 o'clock, she put out the call. Sheets, blankets, pillows, all for children who now have nowhere to sleep. By Monday afternoon, this
is one of the many ways in the Sun Prairie community that can be done. So they can, tangibly see, this is what I'm donating. It's going for the kids. It's going for the teenagers, things like that.
It means the world, especially for people who also had to live through the explosion.
We live like a block back from where the explosion went off.
It was, oh my gosh, there's a lot of kids that live down in that area, and we knew right away that a lot of them were going to lose their homes.
It's a crazy thought not to have their clothes, food, anything. You literally can't explain it.
But thanks to the community, some of those people, the little ones, can sleep a little better.
They're coming now from a place of nothing to something, literally something of just their own again.
The project has already made contact with some of the families who will be getting donations, and they hope to be getting those out in the next coming days. Amy Reed, WISC News 3.
The Bed Lady Project said they still need donations, particularly comforters, even after the kids from the disaster are taken care of.
Typically, fences are meant to be barriers, but for the community of Sun Prairie right now, it is bringing them together. These notes and flowers line the fence. This is next to the fire station on North Bristol. They feature messages of support for the emergency first responders and, of course, messages to the family of Corey Barr, who died in the explosion. For many people in the town, seeing the messages and the destruction behind the fence hits home, especially considering the history involved.
I worked for a good 30 years in the professional building, so we have a lot of history here. And it's sad to see.
The white boards will remain at the fences for anyone to ride on. You can, of course, bring your own notes and flowers to add to it as well.
Tomorrow, News 3 will partner with the Bank of Sun Prairie for an all-day telethon to raise money for the Disaster Relief Fund. Our phone lines will be open starting at 4:30 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. to take donations for the fund to benefit the businesses and families impacted by this tragic incident. 100% of the proceeds collected will stay in the community.
Let's turn it over to weather now. We're in a very comfortable stretch. Dave Caulfield has more. Dave?
Yeah, some spectacular summer weather on the way over the next couple of days for southern Wisconsin. Tonight, temperatures have dipped into the 60s under mostly clear skies in downtown Madison. Calm wind, that dew point at 60, which is pretty tolerable considering we were in the upper 70s for dew points over the last couple of days. Some other temperatures at 67 in Lone Rock, still 70 in Mineral Point and Platteville, 68 in Viroqua, and 70 in the Dells. Dew points in the 50s and low 60s, so we can definitely deal with that considering that it's about 10 to 15 degrees less humid compared to this time yesterday. Wind speeds not too bad tonight with high pressure moving in. They're actually pretty light this evening. Temperatures falling through the 60s, and as we head into tomorrow, highs will make it into the low 80s with plenty of sunshine. We'll talk about when storm chances come back in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Dave, thank you. A woman who attended Governor Walker's presidential campaign launch event in 2015 and posted a picture of herself with him has been charged with being a covert agent for Russia inside the United States. Federal prosecutors announced the arrest of Maria Butina today, charged with conspiracy to act as an unregistered agent of the Russian government and accused of working to infiltrate American political organizations. In a statement today, the governor's spokesman says, quote, Governor Walker never had a meeting, later saying, quote, there were thousands of people at the convention. Many of them approached the governor and asked to say hello and take a photo with him.
Meanwhile, Governor Walker has raised nearly $5.5 million over the past 6 months for his re-election campaign. His campaign reported the latest numbers today. While the figures far exceed what any of the 8 Democrats challenging him have brought in so far, they are down from what he raised over the same period 4 years ago when he he was last up for re-election. No Democratic candidate has yet to report raising more than $840,000 for their campaign. President Trump returned to the U.S. tonight after a whirlwind European trip that culminated with a summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin.
And during a press conference today, the president seemed to side with President Putin rather than with his own intelligence community if he believed Russia meddled in the 2016 presidential election.
I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today.
Now, the response to those statements was nearly unanimously critical. Senator John McCain called it, quote, one of the most disgraceful performances by an American president in memory. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, said Putin would view it as a sign of weakness. House Speaker Paul Ryan of Janesville said, quote, the president must accept that Russia is not our ally. The president's ally, Newt Gingrich, called it, quote, the most serious mistake of his presidency. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer expressed dismay.
A single ominous question now hangs over the White House. What could possibly cause President Trump to put the interests of Russia over those of the United States?
In a tweet sent after the summit, President Trump wrote that when it comes to Russia, in order to build a brighter future, we cannot exclusively focus on the past.
We have some new video tonight from northeastern Wisconsin to share with you. A woman had to be rescued after falling between the lift and stationary parts of the Menasha Bridge earlier this month. The 37-year-old Menasha woman was riding her bike over the Racine Street Bridge on the 4th of July and managed to swerve through the barriers and fall through a crack. The bridge was up for boat traffic. Lucky for her, some bystanders were able to pull her to safety. She was taken to the hospital for her injuries. Police say alcohol was a factor.
Demolition of the old Hill Farms building is underway in Madison. The building taken down after Hill Farms built a new building right next to it. The DMV on Sheboygan Avenue, which was housed at Hill Farms at the office building there, moved to a new Excelsior Drive location on Madison's far west side. It's all part of what the state calls the Madison Master Plan. And still ahead at 10, a Milwaukee brewer takes a cut at the Home Run Derby.
And a recently added flight at the Dane County Airport is about to be canceled for good. We'll have those details when we come back. Welcome back. Many of us have parked somewhere we shouldn't have.
And now, if you do so on the UW-Whitewater campus, you run the risk of being slapped with a more costly ticket. The college has increased parking tickets by 400%. That's the fine for parking in a lot without a permit. This month, the fine has gone up from $25 to $100. Whitewater Police Chief there, the UW campus police at Whitewater, say before that increase, many students simply said they would risk the $25 ticket rather than pay about $200 for the permit.
This isn't about trying to hammer a violator. This is about trying to get people to comply with the rules and regulations on campus so that we can best utilize the parking assets we have.
The police chief says the fine is aimed at students who should know better and can be waived if the driver ends up buying a permit. Last year, of the roughly 10,000 parking citations issued on campus, nearly 7,000 were for parking without that permit.
Frontier Airlines will end nonstop flights from Madison to Philadelphia in October. A spokesperson from the Dane County Airport confirmed it to us today. Frontier has been offering a nonstop to Philly since April 8th, with flights running on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Its last flight will be October 6th and will be replaced with a nonstop to Orlando the next day. American Airlines is still offering nonstop flights to Philadelphia. Foxconn plans to open facilities in western Wisconsin. The company announced today it has entered into an agreement to buy the Grand, a downtown Eau Claire building, and has already bought office space at Haymarket Landing, which is also in Eau Claire. The company says it will create at least 150 jobs. Foxconn plans to close on the deals this year and begin operations next year.
All right, we turn now to weather. Dave Caulfield joining us with our forecast that makes a little bit of a change from the weekend and the humidity.
A welcome change, that's for sure, with nice weather on the way for tomorrow and Wednesday, even into Thursday as storm chances go up a little bit. But we really won't be dealing with that oppressive humidity that we did deal with over this weekend for quite some time. On visible cloud track, you can actually see when that cold front came through, that patch of clouds coming through Madison in the late morning and early afternoon, really cleared us out, coming in terms with the humidity going way, way down. Doppler track showing any storm chances well off to either the west or the east. Check out this time lapse in Madison, though, on the WISC-TV Skycam. We started with the clouds, but cold fronts are funny things. They just, like the home run derby, knock it out of the park, knock the humidity out of the park, and also the clouds. Overall, we were looking at sunny skies this afternoon. A live look in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam. Mostly clear skies with us right now. Currently, right about 69 degrees, calm wind, and that dew point at 60, which is pretty tolerable for this time of year and this time of night as well. Temperatures across some other spots into the 60s in Watertown and in Juneau, 70 in the Dell, 66 in Boscobel, and 70 in Mineral Point. Dew points in the upper 50s and low 60s. Much better compared to 24 hours ago when we were about 15 to 20 degrees more humid. Not good, just not good. There's not a lot you could say in the positive for dew points in the 70s, and we won't be seeing them for quite some time, which is good news. July temperatures overall, we have been about 3 degrees above normal for this whole month. When you take the high and the low temperature, you average them out, and you get what we have here. Only a couple of below average days, the 6th and 7th, but I do think high temperatures at least will be a little bit below average as we go into the rest of this week. Temperatures near 80 for tomorrow and Wednesday, and a dip into the 70s with storm chances nearby for Thursday and Friday. So future track, this cold front continues to move to the east, getting the warm and humid weather out of here. Still rather warm as we head into the next couple of days with temperatures near 80, but definitely some spectacular summer weather on the way for Tuesday and Wednesday, with high pressure controlling the weather pattern. But then our low pressure system off to the west gets a little bit closer on Thursday into Friday, and that brings us some rain and storm chances once again. But again, that humidity won't be as terrible as it was this weekend. Tonight, mostly clear, cooler, less humid with temperatures in the upper 50s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, pleasantly warm, and highs near 80. Now, for temperatures, we'll be right about the mid 70s for lunchtime tomorrow, reaching highs at about 80 degrees, and pretty similar story as we head into Wednesday with highs right around 80 degrees. Some of us in the upper 70s, but what's a couple of degrees amongst friends, right? We're not too concerned about that. And temperatures in the 70s on Thursday and Friday. I think the better storm chances are with us on Friday, but we'll need the umbrella for Thursday and Friday. We can put it away into Saturday afternoon. And for the rest of the weekend, we're in the 80s with temperatures staying in the 80s on Monday and Tuesday, but then another trip into the 70s by the time we get to the middle of next week. Could be a lot worse for the middle of July, the middle of summer. So we'll take this nice weather while we can have it.
It could be like it was this past weekend.
Exactly.
We're good.
But who wants to remember that?
Thank you.
Well, don't look now. Football practice has gotten underway in Whitewater. We'll have that story coming up in sports.
News 3.
The Packers' net profit was down in the 2017-18 fiscal year, but it's not like anyone in the organization is going to go hungry anytime soon. Revenues have never been higher. They took in $455 million in revenue. The net profit, $38.6 million, down $34 million from last year, but last year included $27 million in relocation fees from the Rams, Chargers, and Raiders that fell out of the blue. And a net gain of almost $39 million, not too bad for the smallest market in the NFL.
Revenues, again, grew this year. I believe it's been every year consecutively since the renovation in 2003. For a number of years we've had home playoff games, so we didn't have that. And then, quite honestly, even games later in the year in December, fewer people were here.
Baseball's All-Star Game is in Washington this year, and as is the tradition, Monday night is Home Run Derby night, and the Brewers' Jesus Aguilar is the top seed in the 8-man competition, but it's a pretty passive effort against Philadelphia's Rhys Hoskins in the first round. Hoskins gets 19 homers, Aguilar only 12, so we'll see if Aguilar gets an at-bat in the All-Star Game tomorrow night. Your Home Run Derby champion is the hometown favorite, Washington's Bryce Harper. He beats the Cubs' Kyle Schwarber in the final. There were a record 221 homers hit tonight. Donna Shalala has been elected to the UW Athletic Hall of Fame. Shalala was named chancellor at UW in 1988, hired Pat Richter, and eventually that led to hiring Barry Alvarez. Shalala left Wisconsin to join Bill Clinton's cabinet as Secretary of Health and Human Services in 1993 and was president at the University of Miami from 2001 to 2015. In September, Donna Shalala inducted into the UW Athletic Hall of Fame. In Whitewater today, they had football practice. It wasn't the Warhawks, but the high school seniors who are getting ready for the annual Wisconsin Football Coaches Association All-Star Games that are Saturday at UW Oshkosh. There are 3 All-Star games Saturday, 8-man, small school, and large school. Beloit Memorial's Casper Clark is the first Purple Knight in the All-Star Game in almost 20 years, and he helped Beloit Memorial's program become competitive after winning only 2 games in the previous 4 seasons.
My class has been working so hard to finally change the culture around. So my goal is for the freshmen, sophomores, juniors now, to hopefully watch our leadership as a group of seniors last year and start to do the same for those freshmen and continue on so we can change the culture for good.
We're a little over a month away from our first Prep Mania High School football game of the week, and that's going to be on TVW and Channel3000.com. We'll start with Sun Prairie at Madison Memorial Friday, August 17th. Former Edgewood High School coach Alan Minard joins Bill Brophy and me in the booth this year. That's the Prep Mania game of the week starting Friday, August 17th on TVW and Channel3000.com. And France is still celebrating its World Cup victory. Over 1 million people lined the Champs-Élysées after France's 4-2 win over Croatia, its first World Cup win since 1998. There were 10,000 police and gendarmes to keep the order. About 300 people were arrested, but all in all, not bad as France celebrates its World Cup title. And we'll be right back.
The links to
Back, final check of the forecast.
It's going to be very nice over the next couple of days. Temperatures dipping into the 60s across southern Wisconsin. Dew points in the upper 50s, close to 60, so pretty comfortable, especially compared to where we were this weekend. Pretty good sleeping weather. Temperatures starting off in the 50s. Reach highs near 80 degrees for tomorrow with plenty of sunshine. Another nice day on Wednesday before some storm chances. They come back on Thursday and Friday.
Dave, thanks. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.